even having the Gillardis here from Scotland. It's grateful you're here. It's amazing how far people will travel for a free meal. I'm speaking first because Laila and I met May 15th, 2002. Remember that? But I love her so much, and I want to share with you all a quote that we've heard her say a lot that will show you kind of what kind of a person she is and kind of her character. And it goes like this. This is stupid, I'm going to sleep. And I'm actually very surprised Laila's here tonight and not asleep up in her room. My dad always told me to never make fun of another man's height. So please don't make fun of the fact that I'm 6'4". I first met Markus when he was a sophomore. He's got my mom's house getting his hair cut, and he was just some random kid, and I was like, I don't know who that is. He was just there getting his hair cut, and he left, and Laila said she liked his muscles. And I didn't see him for years, and now they're getting married. It seems like you have a lot in common. Laila likes to boss around Markus, and Markus likes to be bossed around by Laila. So it's great. Really, I love you both. Congratulations.
No, I'm so grateful to be here too. It is so nice to meet all of you guys, Markus's family. You are wonderful. I met Laila when she was 8, and I feel like it's been so crazy to see her growing up. I was literally talking to someone on the way here, and they said, "Wait, Laila? We did South Pacific all together." And he goes, "I thought she was still 8." And I was like, I know! She's not. Well, she kind of is. No, she's not. She's a little bit older, but she's legal, so it's okay. No. But I'm so grateful because I feel like I have gotten to have another sister this whole time. And I always wanted a little sister. I was the youngest in my family, and I love you so much. And you really chose a good one. Markus, thank you for being here for her. We're so grateful for you. And it's so nice to know that she has someone who gets her. You get Laila. And we're so grateful for you. I love you. Congratulations.
I just love Lay so much. I'm so happy to be here. I love her to death. First time I met Lay was maybe 9, I want to say. She came over to the house and I was making some chicken. Or a Brazilian dish, and she was eating the chicken and loving it. Just loving it. She went back home and told her mom and said, "I just had the best chicken ever. You have to go and get the recipe." And all of a sudden I get a call from Melinda, and she says, "Hey, how did you? What's the recipe to your chicken?" I was like, "The one I boiled." It was just boiled.
That was it.
Chicken broth. But it was delicious. So till this day, every time I boil chicken, I remember Lay. It's great to have you, Markus, in the family too. I love you both so much. Happy to see you where you are today, and just that I'm part of it. So love you both.
Love you. You got notes too.
Here we go.
I've got notes. I'm going to just quickly share a few stories and examples of why I adore Laila and Markus. I'm not as funny as Addison, but when Laila was 4 and a half, we were riding in my car, going to a swimming pool. And so it was July, like 101 outside, and Laila said, just out of nowhere, "Landon, I want to be rich." And I said, and right as she said that, she eyed a bunch of coins that were sitting in the cup holder next to her. And she goes, "Money!" And she picks up all the coins, and her face goes, and she starts shaking because the coins have been sitting in this hot car. And she did not let go. And she just said, "Hot money!" because Layla always holds on to things that she wants. When she was 7, I woke up from a nap at my parents' house to her face like inches away from mine. And she said, "So, what's on your foot?" And I said, "Nothing." And she responded with, "Looks like a tattoo." And then she rolled her eyes and said, "Maybe that wasn't your best decision." And now Layla has plenty of tattoos of her own. Because she is able to grow and change her mind. When Layla was 14, we were living in Eagle Mountain, and I was working in Bountiful, so a few times a year she would sleep over at our house, and then I would bring her to school the next morning. It was freezing outside, and we were running pretty late, so I gave her my car keys, and I said, "Go start the car, warm it up." I got outside a few minutes later, and Layla had not turned on the car. The driver's door was wide open, and she was sitting in the front seat, hitting the dashboard.
No, pushing like every
Pushing
button.
every button.
Trying to turn on the car.
Frantic, like frantic. I said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "I can't turn the car on." I told her to put the key in the car. She said, "I have the key in the car," and she holds up the key. And I said, "Layla, you have to put the key in the car." She looked at me like I was an idiot and said, "The key is in the car." Once I showed her how all cars used to work by putting the key into an ignition and turning it, she laughed the entire 45 minutes home to Bountiful because Layla has a good sense of humor about herself. I'm glad that Layla found Markus, someone who loves all these qualities about her and can help her continue to grow and be the best version of her. I'm glad Markus found Layla. Markus was quick to jump into our family dynamic. He walked into having 7 older siblings, and that are all loud and opinionated, and he never missed a beat. We are a nickname family. We immediately had Aunt Laura and Minkus, or Minky for short. Markus just smiled, laughed, and rolled with it all because he's a good sport. Markus was out of state through most of their dating life, and so they dated through FaceTime. When the whole family was over at the house, Markus would want to be with all of us, and he would be on FaceTime and make Layla join in on the convos, dinners, and games that we had instead of hiding up in her room. To us older siblings, having Markus was not only gaining a brother, but having our sister finally be actively involved with us. Because Markus loves family and relationships. Alex and I are way excited for you two. We have loved watching you grow up, Layla, and we've loved you, Markus, joining our family. If I were to have any advice, it would be to just do all those qualities about you guys that I just listed that we all love. Hold on to each other even when things get really hot. Change your mind and opinion about things, especially when the outcome betters your relationship. Laugh with each other and find humor in life. Jump in when new opportunities come your way. Be a good sport. Stay actively involved in your relationship with each other and in the relationships that each other think are important. I love you guys.
Oh, my. Okay, so I wrote this during like a talk to text on the way here. So if there are some words you don't understand, I probably have no idea what I was trying to say anyway. So here we go. I was actually shocked that I was asked to speak today. Layla, a few weeks ago, was like, "Hey, I think it should go without saying, like, I really don't want you speaking at my wedding. But we really need somebody to go after Landon to wake everybody up." So I took the opportunity. But no, I lost my place. Okay. Layla is absolutely perfect. She has rarely made a mistake in her life. Let's all give her a break. She's been through enough already, especially this week. Maybe I don't think I should have had Layla proofread this beforehand. I don't remember writing that, but whatever. We all know Layla is a lover, absolute lover, probably the nicest girl that I know. But she has not given her heart away to many boys. So Marcus, you can find comfort knowing that there are not a lot of jealous boys out there trying to fight after Layla, but I don't know if we can say the same about jealous girls out there that will be fighting after Layla.
That was a
Layla and I are
twist.
very close. We've always been the closest. Sorry, everybody. It's just when you have that vibe, you have that vibe. And I was always the person that my family would call if they've tried absolutely everything to get through to Layla.
To get her out of the bedroom.
I'm the last resort. Basically, I'm happy to be my family's last resort. But that's happened a lot less lately. So I can only assume that they're calling Marcus. Probably has a bigger pull. Layla and I spent a lot of time, I would use her as like a personal Barbie doll. Growing up for like editorials, photo projects. Basically, I do drag, and at that time I was like, I can't dress myself up, so I'm just gonna use this perfect little Barbie doll. And I know that I could have, at the end of the day, I could have just used myself as a canvas, but I mean, we look very similar. Layla just has better eyebrows. That one landed. This was for the people in the back. So I work as a personal assistant. If anyone has seen The Devil Wears Prada, that is basically my life. And I was very intimidated learning that Layla was dating a boy in the military. Very emasculating for somebody who's just working for a single elderly woman who has a fortune to blow. I spend my days like doing housework and laundry and things like that. But I really look up to Marcus now because I hear that we both spend most of our time taking care of a strong, independent woman who doesn't need no man.
Doing housework.
High School Sweethearts, can we give it up for High School Sweethearts, everybody? It does not get better than that. It does not get better than that. That is like a 90s movie fantasy. While all your peers are struggling to figure out life in their early 20s all alone, you two get to struggle to figure out life in your early 20s together.
Yeah.
Amazing. But no, we are very grateful to have Marcus in the family. We desperately needed somebody to stand on the front row for family pictures next to Layla. And, we raise a toast to Laila and Marcus and their future in Oceanside, California. I am sure the cannabis industry is grateful to have you.
This is the last brother.
Okay, I was obviously the coolest brother. I still am the coolest brother. It's very clear by my beard and my red hair. Layla used to think I was the coolest person that existed on the earth, and then I left, and then Truman was the new coolest person. Anyways, back to this time. So Layla was like very determined. Growing up, we would play video games, and she wanted to be the best. But I was the best, and so we would play for hours, and I would just beat her, and then we'd play again, and I would just over and over and over. So she finally said, "Look, you need to. We're gonna do this. I'm going to beat you. We're going to figure it out." So she would make us play for like 6 hours, just repeat, and it didn't matter. She would lose the whole time. Eventually, she finally figured out. She beat me in Mario Kart on the Wii. It was a sad day. She's probably the best Wii game player that you'll ever meet in your life. So she's well trained. She's very determined. If she wants to do something, she will do whatever it takes. Layla also, I played sports growing up, and she was my biggest cheerleader. She was so good at it, and she was so cute that the real cheerleaders at every game, they used to let her lead them out. She'd be the first one that would run all the cheerleaders out. She'd be right there cheering for me at every game. Oh, now I gotta breathe so I don't cry. So now that you're married, I'm excited to have my turn to be your cheerleader. Oh, I'm crying. And that's it. I love you guys. We're gonna end there.
So I gotta, yeah. Okay, I met Layla. I came into the family when Layla was 11, so it's been a hot second. And then and even now, oh my gosh, now I'm gonna cry. Layla is the most kind-hearted person I've ever met. She just loves everybody. I was only supposed to talk a little bit about Layla because I know Marcus the best, but I'm trying to sum it up real fast. But Layla is and always has been the most kind-hearted person I've ever met. And she just loves everybody and accepts everybody. Okay. Also, you know, seriously, when I met Marcus, he was so nice as well. And now that they're getting married, I seriously think that you guys will never have money. I think you guys are just gonna constantly be giving to other people and charities and loving. And so I'm like, love you, but I'm also a little worried. Okay, but I have been since I met Marcus when they were in their sophomore year. Monson and I were actually living at the house with Laila and Wayne and Melinda because we were building a house. And I went over to the house, and most of the like teenagers, right? You walk in, and when you're like, "Hey, my name's so and so," they're like, "Yeah, hey, my name's this," and Marcus was like, "Hi, I'm Marcus, and I like this," and he was just like so much more outgoing and kind. And he was so smart. He would help Layla with her homework all the time. And I truly believe that in the story of Layla and Marcus, I started the Marcus fan club. Okay, I was the president of the Marcus fan club.
I can, yes.
Yeah, Layla can testify to that.
She was my best friend.
I was his best friend. Every time he'd come over, he'd be like, "Hey, what are you doing? Can I do it with you?" And I was like, "Absolutely, you're my favorite person." Favorite friend that Layla has.
Favorite TV show.
We love the favorite TV shows. We talk about it. He just got me. Like
They're getting married next week.
So during that time period, Layla would like this guy, and I'd be like, "Yeah, but what about Marcus? Can we go back to Marcus?" And she would just kind of like shrug it off, and then finally she said, "I don't want to date Marcus, I want to marry Marcus." She said this as a high schooler. She said, "I don't want to date Marcus, I want to marry Marcus. And if I date Marcus in high school, I will mess it up." And I also thought it was just the most profound thing for a teenager to be like, "I know myself, and I know I'm not in a good place right now, or in a place where I can be in a long-term relationship, and so I need to wait this out." And so finally, fast forward to 2020, and I'm upstairs and Layla's doing my hair for pictures. And as she's doing my hair, she goes, "So I need to tell you something." And I was like, "Okay." I kind of gave it up after that. After like the whole I want to marry Marcus, I was like, "Okay, we're just gonna let this play out." And then in 2020, she's like doing my hair, and she's like, "So I need to tell you something. I've been writing Marcus. We like got together and talked before he went off to basic training, and I've been writing him the entire time, and I'm in love with him." And I was like, "What?" I was so happy, you guys. I was like crying. I was like, my dreams are coming true.
I sobbed in the bed for like 10 minutes.
I just sobbed. I just laid in her bed crying. I was so happy. And Marcus does like these cute things that are just like most people who aren't hopeless romantics like Layla wouldn't love as much, but like leaves little dimes. Like in high school, he'd leave little dimes for her, and he attached a dime to every single one of the letters that he wrote home to her, and it was just so cute. And she didn't let me read all the letters, but she let me read a couple of them, and I was just so happy. And so tomorrow is their wedding, and it's gonna be fantastic, but let's just know this is my fairy tale as well. Okay? I'm just as excited to be there, okay? We love you guys.
Cute.
I'm so excited.
That's it. You guys are welcome. Really? I'm not gonna cry. Go away. I probably haven't cried. That's true. I wasn't gonna cry because I was really
Get it over with.
I know, right? Is this the little girl I had? Is this the little boy I play? I don't remember growing older. When did she get to be a beauty? When did he grow to be so tall? Sunrise, sunset, everybody! Sunrise, sunset, swiftly flow the years. One season following another, laden with happiness and tears. Yay! Sing on my daughter's wedding, there we go. So I asked a lot of people to give me adjectives about Laila, things that they liked about her, friends and neighbors, and they said, friendly, inclusive to all, permanently optimistic, sincerely interested in others, soft, tender, cheerful, loyal, caring, strives to be better, sweet, beautiful, happy, independent, confident, kind. Basically everything that Markus is, that's what Laila is. So they're going to be a perfect match. I love that when all those adjectives come in. The last time Laila lived with a man by herself was her imaginary friend Jarrett. She lived in the cereal cupboard between 3 and 5. She had Jarrett, her imaginary friend. She'd take all the cereal out of the cupboard, she'd climb in there, and she'd be talking to this person. And she did this for years, and it was Jarrett. And the boys would tease her like, oh, I stepped on Jarrett, and she would cry, or like, oh, I stepped on Jarrett, and she would cry. And
Like, what kind of name is Jared?
what's the name Jarrett? What's that?
Jared with a T.
But Jarrett came to a really bad conclusion. Like Jarrett's family showed up at one point in the cereal cupboard, and then Jarrett's family died. It was horrible.
Okay, wait.
Drive-by shooting.
The family didn't die. His younger brother got shot in the crib.
Drive-by shooting.
Laila, no.
And so all I'm saying is the last time she lived up with a boy, he came to a really bad end. So you might want to watch out. So I have lots of memories of Laila, just little glimpses. Like she was the cutest, curly-haired. Like the first time we saw her at the adoption agency in Philadelphia, and they turned her bassinet around, and we saw the most gorgeous angel baby I'd ever seen in my life. So when you're saying that Markus was a beautiful baby, they're gonna have beautiful babies. And I'm very excited about that.
So much cheeks.
So she was so stinking cute, so much hair, so everything, and she just looked at me and Wayne like, I'm your girl, and we looked at her and we said, yep, that's our girl. We were so thrilled. I see her selling rocks to the kids as they walked home from grade school. She'd set up a little rock selling thing out on the front lawn, and she made money selling rocks to other grade school kids. That's how cute and sweet she was. I'm sure Markus could have done the same thing. I see her afro hair bobbing as we'd play, hey sister, go sister, Lady Marmalade, and she would just be dancing with her little afro bobbing up and down. So stinking cute. I see her putting on her Tinkerbell wings, thinking she can fly. She never could fly, but she was determined that she could. She would say the cutest prayers, oh my gosh, the most sincere prayers, and I wrote these down so I could share them on her wedding, so you're welcome. And please, 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 she would say, please bless all of the butterflies that we can never catch them all, so they will always be happy. Amen. And thank you for all the animals that give us food, and all the animals that are just to look at, and just thank you for them. Except not the black widows. Amen. Thanks for Earth, so we don't have to live in space, because it would be really hard to find our stuff. Amen. Aww, she was so funny. You guys, I have to put these on, I can't see. And then she would say, I would see her, she would watch all of her Peter Pan movies. I can see her like as a teenager running in the house, and the first thing she would do is take up all of her clothes and go up to her bedroom. She hates having clothes on. Does she still hate having clothes on? You're welcome, Markus. You're welcome.
You guys fit Markus in the same way.
I see her, she had I Hate Pickle Club in grade school. because she hates pickles. And so she had I Hate Pickle Club. It was the most inclusive I Hate Pickle Club ever in grade school. Even the kids that liked pickles could be in her I Hate Pickle Club because she was that inclusive. And she's always been really inclusive. She's always loved everybody. That's something we love about Laila. And when people would ask her about our family, she would say, I have 2 moms and 3 dads and lots of brothers and sisters. And her sisters would include like cousin Lindsay and cousin Becca and the next door neighbor girl. I mean, like all these sisters. And then she would go on to explain, I have my birth mom and my real mom, my birth dad and my real dad, and my heavenly father, and then my brothers, Addison, Landon, Truman, Monson, and Jesus, but I don't get to see him very much. I wrote this down, that's how I heard. So anyway, it was all very sweet, and it was all a little confusing. People were like, wait, what? What is she talking about? Because they always thought she had a sister somewhere. I'm like, she just adopts everybody. She loves people. Her inclusiveness, she could add all Jason and Kristen and the girls and Kelsey and Rob and all the grandparents, and she was ready for that. She's always been that way. She's always loved everybody. Once we were talking about adoption and reminding Laila that Jesus was adopted, and she said, we were saying Mary had Jesus, and then Joseph got to adopt Jesus as his earthly father. And she said, oh, I'm just like Jesus, only a lot whinier. I agree. Yes, she was. I had a song that I would write for every kid while I would rock them to sleep. And by the time you get to your 5th kid, you never had an original melody. So basically this was just the Annie song, but we changed to Laila. So I would rock her to sleep singing, Laila, 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 look what you've done for us. Laila, 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 turned on the sun for us. Since you came our way, it's Christmas, Christmas every day. Oh Laila, you're gorgeous, happy, funny, adorable too. Oh Laila, we all love you. Love you, Laila.
Hey. Over the last 6 years, I had the chance to sit down with, 120 to 130 couples that were getting married and give them some advice and some counsel. So I'm going to do that with you, too. But this is in a shout out to Laila's Hispanic heritage. I always called her, this is Lailita Chiquita Bonita Mijita, which means basically, Laila, my beautiful little girl. She'll always be my beautiful little girl. For a long time, Laila would ask me to tell her the story of how we got her. That was like her favorite story. And so I would tell her that story, and we had decided that we were done having kids. We had 4 boys. That was a handful. And then we just really felt like we should adopt, and so I went to China a lot. We were going to adopt from China, and we spent a year getting all of the paperwork done and having our home study, having the social workers come into our home and interview us and all of our kids. And we had just paid for a visa for a Chinese baby that they hadn't assigned to us yet. And we got a call from Melinda's cousin saying, hey, there's an adoption agency that I've worked with in New Jersey that has a little Hispanic girl that's 3 months old, but they need someone to pick her up in 2 days. Would you be interested? And so I called Melinda and we talked about it, and we booked a ticket to Philadelphia, and we flew out the next day, and the next morning we walked into the adoption agency, and we were nervous, and they brought in this car seat, and they turned around the car seat, and there was the most beautiful little dark-eyed, dark-haired, she had the most gorgeous, feathery, fluffy, black hair, and our hearts matched. And we just felt like it was no different for me than watching one of our boys be born. And so she's always just been ours. So, some advice from your dad. Oh, whenever we went out with Layla, when she was young, we had to schedule Layla time. If we were going to go to the store, if it normally would take 10 minutes, it was going to take 25. Because you had to add 15 minutes of Layla time for strangers to stop you in the store and say, that is the most beautiful little girl I have ever seen. And they'd want to talk about her. And she still is the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. The thing that's most important for a successful marriage is for you to be unselfish, to be selfless. The great thing about marriage is all of your hard times, you get to do it together, right? So your hard times are half as hard because you get to share those hard times. And your great times are twice as great because there's two of you to share in all of those happy times. And marriage isn't always great, okay? It's not supposed to be. Life is not supposed to always be happy. There has to be opposition in everything. You can't know what sweet is without knowing what salty is. You can't know what happy is without knowing what sad is. You wouldn't want to be happy when your dog dies, right? You wouldn't want to be sad when Marcus gets a promotion, right? So all of those, it's okay to have tough times. That's when you grow. But you get to do it together. It's not a competition, okay? Don't keep score. Don't say, well, I did the dishes yesterday, it's your turn. I took out the garbage yesterday, it's your turn. It's not about keeping score. It's about making sure that your spouse is taken care of, okay? If you put their needs, make them as important as your needs, then it will all work out, okay? Don't be selfish. Selfishness is the root of finance problems, it's the root of misunderstandings and fights. So a lot of people say don't go to bed angry. I don't know if that's good advice. Sometimes it's better to sleep on it and wake up and things look brighter when the sun's out, right? So that's something that you can figure out together. But I'm glad Layla was my motorcycle buddy, so we got to go on a lot of motorcycle trips together. We did some overnight, even with Becca and her dad, we did an overnight motorcycle trip. And being on a motorcycle is all about balance. And being married is all about balance, okay? So you find that balance between
doing the lowest points. And we weren't the best of friends at the beginning because you barely know the person. But every day I'd walk into health class and she'd smile at me, she'd say hello, and then she'd sometimes turn around to talk to me even though she didn't know who I was. And it went on like that for a little while, and then we got elected SBOs together. And then over that summer, I don't know when it happened, we started hanging out over the summer. And before we had even become best friends, I knew that I loved her.
Okay, I know I'm tearing up, but it's stupid. It's not stupid, but it's not like a crazy romantic story. When I realized that I loved Marcus was when I needed to go. I was in the school parking lot and I needed to go grab something from my house, but I didn't want to lose my parking space. And somehow he saw me out in the parking lot, and so he went up and he was like, I have just a thing, 1 sec. And so we got 2 traffic cones and he put them at my parking spot and waited for me there until I got back. And it was just it was really, really sweet. And while I was driving up, I was just sobbing. And I was like, okay.
It was a good parking spot.
Yeah. I don't, yeah. That was
sweet.
when I knew.
And that was your junior year?
That was my junior year.
Yeah.
And then your senior year, you guys didn't talk to each other, and then you were back.
Yeah.